Welcome to Paul Lawson Chats, a podcast for helpers. In each episode, we'll hear stories from folks from various companies and organizations who are making a real difference by bringing positive change and infusing radical good into their workplaces, communities, and world. Hey all, it's Paul. I am here with a great friend. I consider him a mentor, founder of One Morning, co-chairman and former CEO of McGohan Brabender, which is to me one of the most forward-thinking, mental health-minded benefits brokers in the region by far. Author of the book Culture is an Inside Job, keynote speaker, and I would say, and he would agree with this, most importantly, loving dad, husband, grandpa, friend to so many. Scott, how are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, thanks for having me too.
Oh my
gosh. Thanks for all the hard work you do too.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. No, I love it. It's mission work to me, and I know you see it the same way. You know, I think I met you originally through a mutual acquaintance of ours with incredible hair, Dean Stitz.
Yeah, the wave.
The wave.
That'd be a good nickname for him.
He should be called The Wave, and I hope he listens to this later, and other employees at McGohan Brabender hear this and start laughing. Yeah. I had sent him, when I found out that he was having twins, I sent him a picture. I found a picture, like an AI-generated picture of a baby with the most illustrious hair, and said, like, this is what you're going to be looking at ×2 here in about 8 to 9 months. I don't remember when I sent that to him, but yeah, I'm so happy that he and I got us connected because very early on, when I first went independent, started thinking about going independent, I had no idea what I was doing. Started doing mental health, suicide prevention, kind of launched into this mission work, but I had no idea where to go business-wise. And you were such an early support. When you and Dean and I sat down at Panera, we talked about this, and you had such incredible advice, and you were so encouraging, and I just appreciate that. So what's new in your world? What's happening these days?
Gosh, I lost my mom a month ago yesterday, which that's been, it was about 100. That was, I don't know. She was, in the hospital like 60 days, 10 times back and forth. And yeah, that was a journey. So helping my dad, helping my mom, kind of going back and forth, and it really kind of gives you a different perspective.
I think when you're in any level of the caretaker role with folks in your family, it does that the automatically different perspective sets in. So that's heavy. You said that happened a month ago.
Yeah, it happened. A month ago, and that's been and it comes in waves. Every once in a while, it just gets it gets hard and then you got a family, you got grandkids, trying to start a new company. And sometimes that gets confusing. Sometimes that gets hard. Sometimes it gets easy. And just, and I don't know how to slow down. So, I just go fast.
I think you said, you keynoted, for anybody listening, Scott keynoted the Dayton Chamber of Commerce Safety Symposium at Sinclair College in Dayton this past Wednesday. And in your keynote, you described yourself as Tigger.
Well, yeah. I like to bounce. Yeah. You
like to bounce. You do. You have this frenetic energy whenever folks are around you. I can feel that too. Absolutely.
I'm an introvert's worst nightmare in the morning for sure.
I believe that. So it's probably so a complicated time. So a month ago you lose your mom, and then also in the middle of, you've started a business, and we're going to talk about that and what that business is, and One Morning, and I'm excited to talk about that because it is absolutely mission work what you're doing, and perfectly lines up with the work that I'm doing as well. But I do want to talk a little bit about and give people, a lot of folks will know who you are, but for the folks that don't, tell me about your background in McGohan Brabender, and what is your background with it?
I started there. I was the 7th employee. So
employee number 7.
Employee number 7, carried Tim Brabender's bag.
Okay.
I started in 1988 before computers were around.
Okay. Yeah.
So did spreadsheets by hand. We're talking old school stuff.
Oh, this is pre-Excel.
Oh, whoa, way
Wow.
pre-X.
Yeah. So you said
Excel.
spreadsheet by hand. Okay.
By hand.
Yeah.
You know what? Our technology was whiteout and carbon paper.
Wow. Yeah.
So we had that, and I was after I did that for a while with Tim, then I went into sales, and started really kind of working in sales. I really love marketing too, so I kind of redid a lot of McGohan Brabender's brand and marketing, and worked in that for a while, and then just I had a big wake up call with one of my assistants that really kind of taught me that performance is one thing, but growing and encouraging people is another thing. And that was a scary time, but also probably one of the best things that ever happened to me.
I think you told that story in the keynote, and it was kind of like I like to call those the come to Jesus moments. It's those little like fork in the road moments that you run into in life where you could continue just doing your thing as you are, or you take this moment and you start chewing on self-awareness a little bit and you go and explore this other path. That's what it sounded like in that moment. Can you give the real quick rundown of that interaction?
Yeah. So she came in my office and basically said, "You have values painted on the wall. You don't exhibit one of them. I have my own set of values. You talk them. Today's my last day." So, and, quickly I was just more worried about what people would think about me with her leaving than her leaving, which is pretty sick. And, number one in sales,
Sure.
killing it on the outside.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I said, "Hey, if I hired a coach and I gave you access to that coach, would you give me a shot?" And she did. And we had to ask each other 3 questions every day. Am I okay? Are you okay? Are we okay? So, and then I just leaned into self-awareness. Leaned into what it was like to lead people, what it was like to make a difference in people's, lives. And that was and I've watched so many people get called on the carpet and, they don't move and they just turn into full-blown destructive heroes, narcissists. And not only are they miserable, but everyone around them are miserable.
It's a lose-lose.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good way to put it. It is a lose-lose.
To me, that represents such a dichotomy shift from the what feels like the American dream definition of leadership, where the egotistical leader is the one who gets promoted to the top and they lead that way and it trickles down that way. That's what I see. It's what it feels. Not every company, but I feel like I see that a lot. And everything that you just said is the complete opposite of that. So getting called out and then taking that moment to reevaluate the culture of your company and how you lead.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Well, I think, they say pain's a great motivator.
Sure.
And, I think at that point, and I watched my dad lead, and he was incredibly humble, incredibly noble, incredibly virtuous. And I was just too ignorant to watch and listen. And then, I got to watch him really make a difference in people's lives. And then I saw the power of that. And then it was just, I think at the end of the day, what really woke me up was, and if you're a business owner, hopefully you can hear this. If you just love people, the work will always get done. Stop worrying about the work.
Mm-hmm.
The work will always get done.
Yeah.
Just love those people.
That's so good. The time that I've spent with McGohan Brabender, I've worked alongside McGohan Brabender, and for anybody listening, McGohan Brabender, benefits broker, you're going to go. These are the folks that are going to get you set up with your benefits. But beyond that, and this is where I think there's something different about your company and about McGohan Brabender, is that employee well-being, that culture that you build for your workers and your consultants and your folks at McGohan Brabender, they're helping build that culture at their clients' companies. They're paying it forward. because I was at one of those companies, and I'm working now alongside other companies that are clients of McGohan Brabender as well, and they're experiencing that trickle down effect. And it's incredible to see that happen, especially in an industry like mine. We'll get to this soon too, talking about just how tough blue collar trades and industries are just it's a tough ship to turn around well-being and culture. But to me, how, like, coming from like your second generation ownership of the company, right? It's ESOP company now, right? It's owned by the employees. Okay.
Yep.
Was that something that, like, so when you started like leading that way, was that a weird thing, or was that something that was just like, no, oh man, this is awesome, Scott's leading us in a really cool direction and we're excited about this? Or like, tell me about that experience.
No, like, I definitely watched my dad do it that way, for sure.
So he kind of had that culture too.
Oh,
so you come from that.
Yeah. I mean, it was, incredible. And then one day, this is an amazing story. So we have a victory cart we push people on.
Seen this.
And we celebrate amazing things. And one day we were celebrating a brand new customer, and it was a big one.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I saw everyone clapping, but I could hear what they were thinking. And what they were thinking is, this is going to be a lot more work. And the people that own this company make the money and I don't.
Mm.
So why did this matter to me? I'm only clapping out of compliance, not out of commitment. And at that moment, it was like, we've got to change the vision of this company. It can't be about more. It's got to be about something different. And so we leaned in and changed our vision of our company around really celebrating healthier birthdays for people.
Wow.
How do we change the landscape of the community?
Yeah.
So instead of saying, how do we get more insurance, more premium, more revenue? How do we celebrate moms and dads that live longer, kids that are healthier, and companies that grow?
Yeah.
And that was a complete shift. Mm-hmm. And then people would really celebrate because they had their fingerprints on it. Like they were a part of it. It's like, man, like I made a difference there. And that was a really cool, and I think that was really a God thing. Like, hey, Scott, you better be paying attention right here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to show you something, and I hope you listen. I hope you're listening.
Yeah, yeah. I see that. When I either walk around your office, or I'm training at your office, or I'm with your clients, or I'm with folks like Dean or Tiffany or any of these folks that I'm connected to over at McGohan Brabender. Like, that's true. That culture has permeated. And those workers lead that way. And I just think that's beautiful. I think there's something about that, because I want the message to be for companies that, like, when you focus on culture and you focus on seeing business and the money making and the success as a byproduct of doing the right thing and making this world a better place, I think being able to normalize that approach to business, I think, is powerful. And I think just you guys have such an incredible example of that.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You have such a huge focus on mental health. That is, again, every time I've heard you speak, every time you and I end up talking about stuff, a lot of it does end up focusing on mental health. Tell me about why that became such a huge focus for you personally, and how that has permeated your business and how you conduct business. Yeah,
I mean, we were really, as a CEO of a company, it was really important for me to just be around people.
Totally.
So, I'd sit at my desk, for like, I don't know, half an hour, and then I'd go Tiggerize other parts of the building.
You said Tiggerize?
Tiggerize. Yeah.
That is a new verb. Got it.
Yeah. Just
Love
go
it.
Bounce. I just go bounce. And,
here comes Tigger.
Just go spend time with people. And then, I'd understand like where their kids were going to school, or they were playing soccer. And sometimes we would just goof around and have fun and just laugh. And for some people, it's like, I'm not allowed to do this. I'm like, yeah, you're allowed to do it. That's why we're here. We're here to have fun. And then when we had Beth Farron, who was our CFO, and then Eric Schmidt was our leader in Cincinnati. And we turned the leadership over to them right after we sold the company to the employees. I didn't have a lot to do. So I told them there's a few things I wanted to do, but one was bringing a sense of belonging to brokenness.
Mm.
You know, how do I do that? How do I let people know that whatever's going on in their lives, it's allowed on their front door. When they touch the front door, they don't have to leave in their cars. So we found this really cool EAP, and it was just amazing employee assistance program. And then I, you know, like I said at the event, you know, 18 years ago, you know, I had everything that probably society said this guy's got it going on. You know, a couple houses, cool cars, you know. And one morning I woke up and didn't want to live and told God to take away the pain, or today was the day. And I told the workforce that story. And I think they were like, holy smokes. I had an employee tell me one time, you know, you're too vulnerable. It makes you look weak. And my response was, that's the weakest thing I've ever heard.
Well, yeah.
And then the employee said, I don't understand. And I said, that's why I said it. They said, explain it to me. And I'm like, not today, maybe tomorrow. Sometimes when you make a mess, you got to sit in it.
Yep.
And so it was really around because, you know, and I said this too, Paul, at the event, and I agree. For a lot of employers, your workplace is the safest place your employees go every day. It is the only place where smiles are returned, you know, where it's safe. Heck, it might be the only place where the electricity bill is paid. And people come to your environment because they trust you. And you realize that they're there because they need you, not because they need you for a paycheck, because they need you for safety. They need you for kindness. They need you for love. And you give that back to them. They're unstoppable.
Yep.
Yeah. They're just unstoppable.
We've seen, and I'm sure you've heard I assume you know these statistics, but maybe not. I don't know. So the construction industry, we have the second highest rate of suicides of any industry in America. We have the highest rate of by far the highest rate of overdoses. We're an industry that is so desperately in need of culture change, and a culture that's what you just said. It's a culture that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to get help. It's okay to be vulnerable. Nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing weak about it. I'll never forget. I tell this story a lot when I speak, but there was a training video at an OSHA class that I was in, and they asked this iron worker, construction worker, I think they asked him, what is the best advice you could give to a new kid in construction? And the answer this guy gave, and I kid you not, verbatim, he was just like, listen, if you've got things going on at home, leave your feelings at the door. They don't belong out here. I've seen this video enough. I've got it memorized. It was shocking to watch because he said the quiet part out loud. He was like, it was a case in point of the kind of culture that has led to some of these statistics, which is you've got all of these guys that are bottling up feelings and emotions and childhood trauma and broken marriages and brokenness with their kids, and they're being told leave it at the door. And what I hear you say is that the focus on mental health and even beyond just focusing on mental health, but really at its core is vulnerability. We should have workplaces. This is possibly the healthiest place that somebody can be in a day. And that's what I see every day when I'm in construction, are guys that are showing up and God knows what's going on at home.
Yeah. You know, even for an employer, if you're in the construction industry, I mean, this is just a crazy idea, but you know, what if when those trucks come back, what if you had someone just clean them for them and they get there in the morning and their truck's clean? You know,
practical.
It's just the real tiny things that are going on in their, you know, just the little things in their life. I mean, because, you know, so you got a safety issue for sure.
Yeah.
So if 43% of Americans are afraid to look at their checkbook because they can't pay the next bill and they're afraid of their mailbox.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on a steel girder on the top of a roof worrying about my MasterCard bill I can't pay.
You bet.
And I'm barely strapped in, right? The odds of me having an accident isn't because I didn't listen to my employer, or I didn't read some safety manual or watch some video.
That's right.
I made a mistake because my life's falling apart, and I'm afraid to tell anybody about it. Yep. That's why I made a mistake.
Yep.
And, when people begin to understand that, and I believe this too, we have enough resources. Mm-hmm. We suffer from acceptance.
Yep.
And if people would just be, when I spoke the other day with you, there was this guy in the front row, big guy, I just looked at him. And I got done, and he was like, dude, that was amazing. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at him, and he's all tatted up, right? And I'm just like, you're the guy that needs to tell the other guy that it's okay. Mm-hmm. Now I tell him, I got blonde hair, blue eyes, I wear a suit. It's like, yeah, that cat's going to say something. So what? Right. I'm like, you're the guy.
Yeah.
Like, you're the voice inside this industry that can change the world.
That's right.
Go change that world. So
that's right. Yeah, I see. I think the ticket is really, it's empowering the everyday person to see themselves as an advocate. Half of what I try to do is get out on job sites and let these guys out in the field know, like, listen, for all the years that you've said, hey, none of my business. Who am I to help somebody? Who am I to say anything? You have the potential of creating culture around you by just caring. Just a little bit. That's all it takes, is the littlest bit of care and the littlest bit of vulnerability. I've seen guys, like you said, tatted up, crusty. These guys are the piratiest guys. When they open up and they show vulnerability, it is palpable, it's powerful, and it spreads that culture like wildfire, faster than anything like keynote speakers and suits and all of that. Like, you can get up there and get that message out there, but when you get that fire going and you get those guys talking about it and sharing their stories, that changes the workplace. That changes those job sites. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. So I love that. I just think there's something about, and I love you speaking to that and getting out there and talking about that. And you've spent years modeling it. The workplace can be healthy. It can be a place where the whole version of yourself can show up. Everything that you're representing, your family, your background, your story, everything. You're strongest when you bring your whole self here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And you're strongest when you just put away all the masks that you wear every day.
Yeah. It's exhausting.
Oh my gosh. I had one for the golf course, one for church, one for a bar, one for home.
I mean, where are those masks now?
I don't have one.
You got rid of them.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't have one. And I shouldn't say I don't care, because I do care, but I'm going to be the same guy talking to you, and the same guy I was at Sinclair, and the same guy I'm going to be when I go upstairs and, I talk to my wife. I don't have to pretend anymore.
Yeah. Yep. That's incredible.
When we begin to teach people that the mirror is a wonderful place to find a friend, we change the world.
Yep.
Because even drugs, what people at employers need to understand is they're going against drugs and alcohol. Drugs and alcohol are not the problem. Drugs and alcohol are the solution to a deep discomfort with one's soul. And when you realize that they don't want to use drugs and alcohol, but they're so uncomfortable with their soul, it's the only thing they can to remove that. And gosh, when you watch beautiful, I went to a funeral today for a friend of mine that lost his life. I lost 18 guys in recovery. I've watched it. I've seen it. The disease is out to kill people, and it works. But it also does really cool, beautiful things too.
Yeah, it's it's been interesting to watch an industry that we've got substance misuse, a lot of it. A lot of guys that they lean on the bottle because they don't feel like they have anybody else to talk to and open up about anything. And so I remember there was a guy, it's interesting too. I think you mentioned too about the onset of AI. You said this the other day too, about how it can be a great tool, but it seems like there could be danger around this too. And I had a guy on a job site come up to me and do everything he could to convince me that his days of just driving in a truck, he literally spends his entire drive talking to ChatGPT. Literally, like talking to a person, but it's ChatGPT. And he's talking about it like this is the best thing in the world. This is incredible. And he was showing me it and kind of like having me do a conversation with it too. And it's basically just a ton of positive affirmation and a ton of reflective listening is what this thing is programmed to do. And to me, it's filling that void and need that's time and time again showing guys are lonely. Folks need connection. And we're so out of training in society these days and in the workplace to provide that and tell our workers it's okay to do that too, that people are literally turning to computers to fill that need.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a great book, and I know you've read it, called Love and Respect. Yeah. And that book, if you're a male, I mean, just the innate desire to be respected. So if you're an employer and you have men in your company, then your culture should tilt towards respect. If you have women, their number one desire is love, which is different. Mm-hmm. So if it's the same in a marriage, it could be the same in the workplace. And none of this is rocket science.
No.
A lot of this is really simple stuff. Yeah. It's not complicated.
Yeah. It's so using technology to help these conversations and help folks get connected to resources. Talk to me about One Morning. Talk to me about the advent of it, the origin of it. What is One Morning? Where are you taking it?
Yeah, it all started when I told that story of McGohan Brabender. And then I wrote a weekly blog every week for 12 years to our workforce. And then when I told my story, I asked other employees, hey, are you willing to tell your story? And I had 8 people say, I'll tell my story. So I just held my iPhone and a couch and we told 8 stories, and our EAP utilization went from 4% to 38% in 16 weeks. So it just changed the landscape of the company. Mm-hmm. So I left MB and I was like, I might be onto something here. Like this is pretty cool. And plus I'm not sure my wife really wants me to wake up every morning and Tigger the family room.
And go Tigger.
Yeah. And I'm not sure, I want to play golf every day. Right. And so we hired this company down in Cincinnati. They're called Hyperquake, really cool branding company. And they just gave us a different voice. So what One Morning is, it's an engagement catalyst that nudges people through storytelling. And we ditch all the clinical, jargon. So we don't tell a story about, alcoholism. Maybe, why do I embarrass myself when I drink? Or, why am I afraid of my mailbox because of financial fear? And we nudge people about every 3 weeks with a story, and Instagram-ish like story. And then we put all these national, local, and community resources on a microsite for every employer. No login, no password. So, and all those resources are available to every employee, spouse, even the kids. And it's because we don't get to pick and choose when life throws life's terms at us. And then if we don't have the right tools, then every problem looks like a nail and every solution's a hammer and everyone just gets hurt. Mm-hmm. But when we have the right tools, then all of a sudden our life can change. Like we were talking about the shapes. Like those are tools.
Yep.
Having an employee assistance program, or understanding what 988 is, or understanding what text 741 is. If my butt's falling off and I can text 988, or I don't even have to talk to anybody. I can just text somebody. I don't feel good right now. Someone can text me back. I mean, that's amazing. And because when people are broken, they don't feel like knocking on HR's door, like, hey, but what if when you're feeling good, you have all the resources on your phone, and then when your life falls apart, you just, hey, I got these tools. I can be ready to go. So that's kind of what we're hopefully bringing to life. I thought I was going to white label an EAP until I figured out EAPs really don't want a lot of utilization. They're not in the business to really have a lot. So I'm kind of an EAP's worst nightmare.
Because we're going to increase that utilization, man.
Which is okay. Yeah.
I would say, so my story, from like, I've used an EAP to find a therapist. I stuck with that therapist for a year to get back up on my feet after I went through cancer. So I go out and I tell that story on job sites to guys to let them know, kind of similar to what you're doing with One Morning and getting stories out there. I'm sharing my story to let one burly bearded dude to a bunch of other burly bearded dudes to say it's okay to get help, and here's what it looked like when I got help. And so I started doing that. So in construction, I'm proud of this. I think you went from 4 to 36% at McGohan Brabender. Yeah, we went from like 1.5 to about 15% after we did a round of that storytelling. And I would say in an industry like ours, which we're pushing up against that much stigma, that to me there was an indicator there that storytelling is where it's at.
Yeah.
That's like the cheat code for getting around stigma, is that stigma doesn't know what to do with stories. Stigma, you can throw all the data you want, all the statistics you want at it, and it will just swap it off like it doesn't care. But stories, it doesn't know what to do with that.
I was at an employer talking about it, and when I walked in, the employer said, "Hey, I don't know if you're going to be able to connect with these guys." I'm like, "Well, that's not very fair."
That's okay.
And
encouraging.
So I was telling my story, and then and this was kind of brave, and this is heavy manufacturing. And I said, I just need one brave guy to raise their hand. Who here has ever been afraid of their mailbox because of the IRS or a bill you couldn't pay? And not one guy raised their hand. There's like 250 guys there. I'm like, I don't have one brave person. I got to have one. And this guy in the back, he kind of, and I go, hey, stick that way up in the air. And he sticks it. I go, stick it up higher. And I turn around. I said, turn around, look at that guy. You see what that is? That's courage. And then I said, that's all I've got. I've got one guy. I don't have any more. And then finally, like 18 guys raised their hand. And I'm like, don't drop that. You feel that tingle, that shame dripping off your body.
Yeah.
That
You're
shame.
not alone. Yeah.
And then we talked about Alzheimer's. We talked about dementia. We talked about addiction. We talked about, and all of a sudden the whole room looked around like, I might not be as bad as I thought it was.
Vulnerability pulls vulnerability out of the woodwork. Yeah. That's what I've seen time and time again. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. You get out there and talk to the absolute crustiest, 1,000 construction workers. But if you can get out there and model vulnerability, they will respond to it. It's just we've never done it before. These are industries that have shunned vulnerability, either quietly or verbally shunned it. Said, hey, we don't talk about this stuff here. No, that's weak. Yeah. And then to have like a Trojan horse come in and be like, no, it's okay to be vulnerable. Let me show you how to do it and see the effect of it. It's possible. It's doable. And to me, what you're doing with One Morning, that's the mission work. That's like, to me, a Trojan horse in industries like construction is a story-based. It's an app currently, right? Or is there going to be a web platform?
It's a web platform, and you get.
It's currently a web platform.
Yeah, and you get through it through like a QR code. You get to the microsites for the employer.
Got it.
And we build posters for the employer. We build these really cool, because one of the things we're teaching employees is don't diagnose mental health. Like, don't tell someone. If you're not a therapist, your job is not to diagnose. Your job is to help and guide and listen with empathy and just to steer them in the right direction. So we give all these people these tools to just kind of say, hey, look, this is what here's some recommendations for you. Mm-hmm. Because 80% of managers have no tools. They have no guidance or experience on how to deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think being able to encourage employers to take off the mantle, hey, you don't have to diagnose. You don't have to be that. There are people out there who do that, and that's what these resources connect to. But take off that pressure of feeling like you don't have to fix this. That should be almost an on-ramp for people to see that, like, hey, advocacy is really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, or even the big thing is, too, if you've got an employee that's showing up late all the time, most managers will give that person just all kinds of grief. And then as a manager or as, a team lead on a crew, would be, hey, is everything okay? You all right? Because if that person said, no, I'm not all right, like it's not out of disrespect to you. It's not my alarm clock. My mom's sick. And all of a sudden it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's all you had to say.
There's a story there.
Why don't you go home and take care of your mom? The rest of the team says, we'll take care of that. And the guy's like, seriously? That's all I had to do was say something? And then the world changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's amazing.
yeah.
I feel like we're going to turn the corner on it. I love seeing this happen. And it's really cool to see a company like McGohan Brabender that has embraced this. It is in the DNA. It's in the blood going through the veins of that company is vulnerability and emotional intelligence and mission with a byproduct of business. That's what I see McGohan Brabender when I walk through the halls of McGohan Brabender. What I'm seeing in construction is they are just dabbling in this, and I'm seeing the effects of it and how it's impacting families and the kids of those families. And I'm like, I see a picture of what this can look like in the future if we all do this. To me, I think so. For one morning, I want to cap on that. I've already talked to so many companies about like if you can get a web-based platform or something and integrate it in with your mental health program, please check out One Morning. Is this something that is how is One Morning looking to adapt to different industries? Would be one of the questions that pops up on occasion.
Yeah, like even like some of the material, like some of the posters, you'd have like healthcare, you'd have manufacturing, you'd have construction, and you'd have an office environment. The stories that are there, probably they're done in a setting where you can't identify.
Yeah.
Like what is this?
They're people's stories.
Yeah. So it's done in kind of a really cool studio. So it's not like, hey, this person worked here or there. And then we're evolving those stories all the time. And then probably we have a hospital that's a customer. And actually what we're going to do is actually do videos of their own employees and put those videos on that microsite for their own workforce.
Awesome.
So now I get to see like, whoa, so-and-so went through that?
Yeah.
If they went through that, maybe I could go through that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's vulnerability baked right in. That's part of the model. I love it. I think about One Morning and I think about the difference between what One Morning provides, leveraging technology to connect people to people versus something like ChatGPT and talking to a computer, filling that void of what folks are really wanting, which is connection and reflection and validation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just see One Morning being such a powerful tool that I think so many industries could use. So I hope everywhere that I go and the construction companies that I talk to, there are several tools that I try to promote. One Morning will absolutely be one of them for sure.
Well, we're just a baby too. And it's not expensive. I mean, it's not expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, for a group of 250, my whole life fell apart when I was 43. So there's a 43 in every price. So for 250 employees, it's $3,043 a year for the whole platform.
Yeah.
So it is not.
That's a drop in the bucket for companies for the kind of effect that it can have on the workers and EAP utilization, which for every utilization of an EAP is a potential life saved, either for them, something for their kids. I mean,
yeah, and you're spending right now, a group of 250, you're spending $1 million on mental health and substance use disorder.
You got that calculator in your head now, don't you?
Oh, I do. You don't even, you're spending that right now.
Yeah.
And you don't even know it.
Yeah. You don't even know it because it looks like other costs, right? But it's actually, these are talking about, mental health costs and substance misuse costs. That's, we're talking about. Go ahead.
If your people are struggling, your business is struggling.
Yeah.
So, but the other cool thing about One Morning too, is it's just not for the employee, it's for the spouse, it's for the kids.
Yeah, it's the whole family.
So, hey, if my kid's getting bullied at school, I don't have to pick up the phone and pepper the parent because I don't know what I'm doing. I can call the therapist and say, I don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah.
How do I deal with this? How do I coach my kid? How do I coach my spouse to not lose it at a soccer game when they see this parent? Like, how do we do this in a loving way? What's the best way to handle the situation?
Yeah.
And then something else comes your way. Someone takes your parking spot. You take that same knowledge, that same asset. All of a sudden, you're onto something. Your kids get to see it. And it's like, Dad grew up.
Look at that. Dad grew up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, yeah, I'm going to continue being an advocate for it. I think it's incredible. I see such a need for it in our industry, and specifically under construction. You've got some companies where guys are in crews and they work together a lot, and it's kind of empowering them to have different types of connections. You have other guys that are more isolated. They're in trucks all day. They're alone. They make stops here and there, but it's being able to meet these specific needs in an industry that has been plagued by suicide and overdose. There is a desperate need for connection and for an infusing of vulnerability and emotional intelligence. So, oh man.
Well, and Paul, what you're doing too is, if you get this right, you don't have to worry about retention of your workforce. You don't have to worry about it. Matter of fact, your competitors have to worry about retention.
Right.
Because you can go grab them.
Yeah.
You can take them. And not only you locking in the employee, but you're going to lock in the spouse and you're going to lock in the kids.
Yes.
You're going to lock in the whole family.
And I'm sure you've seen this at McGohan Brabender, and because you guys aren't the only benefits broker around, but I would say you guys are the only one that I know of that has done the amount of culture work that you've done.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, and a lot of the stuff that we do isn't expensive. You don't need a ping pong table and a ball chair and sushi chef.
Right. Those are nice, but you don't have to have that.
No, like a personal handwritten note. Like every birthday, every employee gets it's a blank card. Mm-hmm. There's nothing on the inside. Yeah. So it's a personal handwritten note, happy birthday, to someone's house. Oh. And there's a gift card on the inside.
Yeah. Just a little thing.
And it's written by Beth and Eric. And I signed them all for 12 years.
Yeah.
I mean, every single employee. Yeah. And it's a lot.
It's the little thing, the little things that go so far. I want to wrap. I always try to land in the conversation thinking about the future. I always want this to be vision minded, and I cannot wait for you to answer this, because I just knowing you and what you built at McGohan Brabender, what you're building with One Morning, and also how you love your family. Like, you've modeled this in all aspects of your life. What do you think the future workplace looks like when workplaces really do adopt that culture change and they really are employee focused and they take the excuses off and they just focus and they do it?
Gosh, I think at the end of the day, I mean, one is just a massive sense of belonging. I mean, I think bigger issues go away. I think issues, I think race issues go away. I think religion issues go away. I think judgment goes away. Mm-hmm. I think it's bigger. I mean, I think it's gigantic. When you bring acceptance, you change the world. And for an employer, the work's gonna get done. Yeah. They're going to do it. They're going to do the work. That's, in my opinion, it's secondary. It is absolutely secondary.
Yeah.
But just the flow of all the political junk, all the left, right. Mm-hmm. I mean, at the end of the day, fear sells and people are buying it. Be an employer that doesn't sell fear. Be an employer that just brings everything to life. Yeah. And brings like an incredible sense of belonging to just humanity. And it's not, I don't think it's that hard. I just don't. I could be wrong. I mean, I just don't think it's that hard.
I don't know. I see the effects of what you built at McGohan Brabender, and it's partially what inspires me to get out to other companies to say, hey, it can be done. Yeah, we might be in a harder industry, but you know.
I think for a lot of employers too is, man, you got to do the really hard things too. Like when someone passes away, a spouse passes away, you got to get your car keys. You got to drive to that person's house.
Yep.
You got to knock on the front door.
Yep.
And you got to say, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Or a kid overdoses or something serious happens. They're in the hospital. You got to lean into those. You got to lean into those lives. Do it.
Yeah.
The easy things are easy. Flowers, loving, cookouts.
Yeah.
But culture comes alive when the hard stuff happens. And people are watching you. What are you going to do when the hard stuff happens?
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's for all the folks. You wrapped up your keynote the other day talking about put your name on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is kind of representative of that. Like if the kind of culture you want to do for others, what you would want others to do for you as golden rule, to have a company where you want to take care of people, you want to take care of your workers in the best and in the worst. And in those moments, rather than I don't know what we're allowed to do. I don't know what we should do. I don't know what's normal and typical of a business, but no, just love your worker. Just love them. Take care of them, period.
Pretty simple. Yeah.
Pretty simple. Pretty simple. Scott, thank you so much.
Well, I tell you, and you're doing the hard work because you pick the hardest industry to go after, but it's also the most impactful.
Yeah, it is. I get to wake up. If you had told me a few years ago, hey, you're going to go and start a business just focusing on mental health and suicide prevention for the construction industry, as a former pastor, I'd have been like, do tell me how that happens. I still wake up every day like this is just incredible, and I love the work that I get to do. And and I get to meet folks like you and have incredible conversations like we did today. And how can people stay connected to you? How can people get connected to One Morning? And how can people stay following Scott McGohan?
Well, you can email me at scott@onemorning.com. You can follow One Morning on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. You can follow me. So those are two different channels. Scott McGohan, Instagram. You can go to onemorning.com, learn, or heck, you can call my cell, 937-231-2572, and I'll pick up.
I'm not going to edit it out.
There you go. Yeah, I pick up every call. When you're in sales, you learn to pick up every single phone call, even the cold ones, because everyone's out there trying to make a living.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I get it, man. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for the just the light that you bring to the business world, and you add a humanity to the corporate world that is so needed and so beautiful, and you're impacting lives. And I cannot thank you enough for the work that you do.
Well, ditto, my friend. Ditto. Mm-hmm. Touché.
Awesome. All right. For any of you guys that are listening, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Paul Lawson Chats, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.